Good morning, grade 12s. I just wanted to include that section that I said in the last video that I needed to include, and that was the risks in your micro functions. Risks can be seen, I would actually put it quite highlighted so that you make sure that you are focusing on risks or challenges. You know, if you a question in the exam and they're talking about risks, please don't kind of be thrown out. It's definitely challenges within your micro environment, looking at your functions. So if we have a look at purchasing, some of the risks that purchasing managers could face is changes in trends. It could be political risks. Government decides, you know what, they're going to or trade agreements. Think about Coca-Cola when there was the sugar tax that came into play. They had to rethink how they're going to be selling their products, how they're going to be making their products, because there was a whole sugar tax which would have had an impact on the profits. There's also social trends, which I said is like, you know, different trends, things change, purchasing, environmental risks. We've got technological advancements. If we're not keeping up with the changes, look at the new delivery app that most of the retail stores have done, and Checkers have now done this amazing, we will deliver in 60 minutes versus, you know, the other stores that are not able to do that. So those are potential risks that retail would have a look at. In your production departments, the risks are always going to be quality. You're could have quality risks. You're bringing in materials, it's not at the same standard. Risks could also be changes in, you know, it's very, very expensive to buy in new machinery in order to manufacture, so that could be a risk. Production could also be with regards to electricity and load shedding. Finance departments, not keeping to budgets, bad debts, people not paying money, inflation, and anything that's going to hit your bottom line. You know, the financial department has to understand how to put selling prices together. They're going to be putting forecasts together for how much they think they're going to sell. And there's a risk involved in that. If we look at COVID, with regards to people not going to the shops as often, there's risks involved with that. So the financial department would have to put together some sort of plan or understand what they would do in the event of. HR, you could have a skills shortage. There's labor disputes, there's always labor disputes. You know, you've got trade unions that get involved, the workforce not being kind of keeping up to what is needed. If you have a look, even now in the retail side, you know, HR is having to work very hard, I think, in Checkers and that, because the staff's morale is very low. They are at risk with COVID. You know, they've got to leave their families, they have to leave their families and their children home during school in order to work. So those HR would need to look at that and deal with that and understand that risk. And of course, there's always conflicts. There's always a risk of conflict and how you're going to solve that. Marketing. Poor research is a big risk. I know when we did Zambic Oil, our research was great in a sense, but it told us what we wanted to hear. So we had kind of manipulated it to tell us that. And Zambic Oil is not in the market today. So it just goes to show that, you know, your research is very important, and it's very important not to influence the research. Distribution, getting the product to the customer. I think of the smaller retail stores, what are they doing at the moment? Do they have online? Are they looking at online stores? Budgets always come into play. When there is any disaster, the first budget that companies take from is the marketing budget. So I know when I worked at Kimberly-Clark, we always had to have a section called profit protection, we called it. But I would keep quite a lot of money aside, because when things go wrong, marketing is the first place that they're going to cut. Of course, your risk is also pricing, you know, with people losing their jobs at the moment, with people that are not making it through COVID. The breadwinners are being taken away. So, you know, in order to bring a price increase now during this time is very, very difficult for consumers, and you could lose consumers in your. So I know, look at Woolies. Woolies is doing a whole drive of trying to bring a low-cost strategy into play so that they can pass that discount on to consumers. PR, publicity, especially with social media at the moment, you know, you're at the tips of fingers where you can say to your friends, or you can share with people your terrible experience at a retail store. So it's extremely important for the PR company to be on top of that and to be able to manage that and make sure that there's good relationships with the employees, because those are your internal customers, and with external customers, that they are continually talking to them with social media and engaging. Admin, there's risks with documents. Documents could get lost, records could go missing. You've got someone who's left and they decide, you know what, I'm going to delete everything. And then the Copy Act, which is the Privacy Act, you can't just share information with anybody. General manager, remember your POLC, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. There are always risks with that if your manager is not trained to do that efficiently. The management style of the person, there could be risks, and what could you do to alleviate that? Lack of knowledge. I've worked for managers who didn't have all the knowledge, and that's okay if you admit that and say, you know what, I don't know, but some managers don't do that. So there's a lack of knowledge, and with that, people become self-conscious, and they also don't know how to lead and direct, and so forth. So your company move forward. So those are the risks per your micro functions. Hey, remember your IT risks. Don't forget IT. IT risks are information that is getting shared that shouldn't be. Hackers, social crime, all social media, online crime and things like that. Especially if you've got a credit facility, be very careful with that from a retail point of view. And it was risk management. And now we're dealing with risk. Okay. So what are some of the things that you can do from a total quality management point of view? I did talk about this in the previous video, but please make a note of this. They always ask about quality. You can do you can do benchmarking, where you have a look at what industry is doing, other retailers or competitors are doing, and you benchmark towards them. Your balance scorecard is a great total quality management tool. You can do inspections, your financial ratios. Remember about maximizing profits. It's about your current capital ratio, asset test ratio. You're always going to talk about industry with that. And then continuous skills development. So total quality management, we have gone through the slide. It's about being customer focused, showing leadership, involvement of people, have a process approach, systems approach, continuous improvement, factual approach to decision making, make decisions on facts so that it's right, not on how you feel, and then have a mutually beneficial supplier relationship. You really got to look after your suppliers. Thanks, grade 12. So that was I just needed to cover the risk and kind of reiterate the total quality management side of things. Going well for you, keep at it. And the next video will be coming through shortly. That will be on creative problem solving. Have a wonderful day.